All right, Gabe, got your Washington back and it's all fixed up for you. So appreciate you sending the card. That's really cool. Um, I need to get some cards one day made for myself. I usually just do the QRZ thing. I used to do the EQSL. I don't even know if I still have an account there. A lot of guys use the logbook of the world. I don't partake in that one. But I haven't done the expansion to the radio yet, so you still have just the normal everything there. But I did the alignment that I do to it, so let's just check that out. So there's a little bit of a story behind this one. Cover that in a minute, but here is the sideband, two-tone, so it's really good. So let me check one thing here. Just adjust those numbers just a little bit. Okay, that's better. So right in that 24 range where I like it to be. The ARRL would say that's about 30, which is excellent for these kind of radios. That's how it looks on the oscilloscope. And yeah, I got the modulation set on this on AM to about, with the test tone, it's about 96%. So give you a nice crystal clear sounding AM modulation if you decide to use AM. On FM, I have the deviation set to, let's see where it's at. I think it's about 4.1. Now again, you can run this radio with the microphone gain up all the way on all the modes. It's perfectly fine. Nothing will sound modulated or anything like that. So it's a really nice working radio. Let's go to FM. Plug in our cable. So it's about a 50-watt radio on FM. You have an adjustable RF power. If you're keyed up, you just press the button and you can lower it down. It'll go all the way down pretty close to 1 watt. It's in steps, so each step has a quick jump up. You can see it's going about 4 to 5 watts each time. So you can't really dial it into a certain level. It just doesn't allow that. So, you know, it goes about 5 watts each time. So just to point that out. So let's see here on our FM. So it's about 4 kilohertz deviation, which is about right. If you're going to use this on 10 meter FM or something, it's going to sound really good on the air. And it has fully capable of doing repeaters and all that stuff too. It's a full-fledged amateur radio, but I'm going to put the little resistor in there on the top, and then it's going to open it up to do the other band as well, just in case you want to have some fun there, which I think you do. It's one of the reasons why you sent it. So let's put a microphone on this and just see how it's working here. It'll work the same on the other band too, so we'll just do that and show that at the end that it's done, but I'm just going to show you the power here. So let me get out of this and go here. I'll come up to my power meter right here. So it's about, like I said, 50 on FM. AM, I have it set to about 18 with the power all the way up, the RF power on the carrier. And then when I speak into the mic, it's going to do, you know, roughly 50, 60, 70. It just depends, you know, on what words we say and stuff. So they do really good. And they sound really nice and clear, like I said before, on AM. So it's a real respectable sound. It may not be like blow you back in your chair like loud modulation, but not everybody needs that or really wants that. So it's just a nice, respectable, clear signal, and that's how we talk, you know. We don't want to scream and yell and blow people away and cause a bunch of bleed over on adjacent frequencies and stuff. So here's sideband. So on sideband, you know, it has a really nice clean signal too. It will do slightly more power on sideband, somewhere around that high 70 to 80 mark. So that's about perfect for this radio. It's about an 80 watt radio, but you know, I do adjust a few things and clean up the transmit, which does kind of give you a little less power, but not by much. So I think the amateur radio operator would appreciate this for what it's doing on the RF spectrum, and understandably so. You know, some of your higher end HF models will do the same thing. You know, they're not always going to give you the full 100 every word that you speak, you know, so we've kind of gotten used to that. It sometimes goes into the CB world where people want the most everything, every single word they say, and that can cause problems and, you know, lead to other bad things. So power is just a number. I'd rather have a nice clean signal and just let the power just do what it's going to do, and let the conditions on the whatever frequency that you're operating at allow your signal to go where it's going to go, and also antenna. So I'm going to pop the lid on this. I'm going to make it do the other stuff, and then I'll just come back and show you that. So we're just going to attach this 0 ohm resistor to here, connect basically this circuit with the 0 ohm, these two pads there, and that'll just enable the rest of the radio's frequency capability. By the way, I forgot to mention in the beginning of the video, if anyone is interested in purchasing one of these, I do have a pre-order on my website, and I can put a link to that in the description of this video. But you will still have the option to receive either a new President, I believe they're still doing the Bluetooth mic, or the Digi mic for free after you purchase the radio. You just have to let me know which one. I contact President, let them know, and they ship it out directly to the customer. So that's a good deal that they've extended when you buy this radio new. So let me continue on here, and I'll come back when I'm done. Okay, so we're all done with that. So I'm going to put it back up on the stand and turn it on, and I'll show you how to, if you ever accidentally were to reset the menu, how to get everything back and how to initially do it. So this radio doesn't just turn back on with that feature enabled. You have to tell it to do that. So right now you can see still in 12 and 10 only. So you can always go back to that if you want to. If you just flat out decide, I don't really care about the other, I just want to use 12 and 10, then you can just go back. But if you want to enable it, you just hold your menu button here and go to the end, or you can go clockwise, but where it says password, and then I think it's 1 2 3 4 5, and then it's just going to do a CPU reset and come back on, and there you go. So obviously with the span function on, it's not going to be very counterproductive here when we're going 10 kilohertz channels. I mean, you can do it like this. That's kind of how I would leave this radio for my own personal use. If I was using this radio, which I considered maybe putting one of these out in my car. I like to switch out my mobile setup quite often, but you know, you can see now we're basically just cycling 10 kilohertz at a time. If we want to go quickly up to HF band, like right here, there we go. It doesn't automatically tell you the mode that you should be on. You have to tell the radio that yourself, but you know, it still has all the frequency option. It doesn't, I don't think it goes any lower than this though. No, that's the lowest, which is kind of useless anyways to go any lower. We're not using any of those frequencies, so I mean, it'd be nice if it had 15, but it doesn't. So we understand what we're getting when we get something like this. So plenty of other ones out there if you want to do 15. Let's find the microphone. I can just show you the power that it's doing here and stuff. Should be about the same. Okay, so we'll get to the backstory after I show this on the radio. So again, you know, this is on this band. And there's our dead carrier with our peak envelope power, so it still does really good. Go to sideband, and on sideband, you know, we're still doing just fine there too. And there's our SRF. Sometimes you won't get a full deflection. That's normal. I'm actually going to set this up how I would like to see it. If you do the reset here, then most likely you'll lose that. So I can show you that really quick. There's different versions of reset. I believe if there's a reset all, then you lose that option, but you just go back in and start over and do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know if I can get out of this. Yeah, I can. Okay. So that's the reset I was talking about. I'm not going to change any of that. It does have an annoying key beep. I'm going to keep that off for you. Frequency, I'm going to have it show SWR on transmit. I'm going to have it show temperature on transmit. Mic type EL, that's for this mic. This is the mic that you would have got new with your radio. If you want to use any other mic, say you have a favorite mic that you want to use something that's wired for something else, like these are kind of handy. This plugs into that mic socket. You can use like a standard 4-pin Uniden Cobra wired mic on it. Just any other mic that you would use, it's dynamic, because what that does is switch off the voltage coming out of the mic socket to power the little it's up in this corner actually, the little electric condenser element in there. It's a powered element, but it gets power from the bias out of the mic socket. So the dynamic option switches that off. If you try to talk with that mic in dynamic, you won't get any sound, or if you get any, it's very little. I'm gonna leave span on. Obviously, I mean, you can name this band. Some people will name it CB if that's what you want to do. Power limitation, that's just another way to use the radio. This would be kind of a low power situation. I've shown that stuff before on other videos. AO is kind of mid power, and then off is the full power of the radio. You can still adjust things. I'm going to put this in Fahrenheit. Temperature protection, that's for your fans. Usually they kick on all the time, I think around 30 C. So if you put fans on, they would run continuous there. Otherwise it's thermostatically controlled. So I think you might already have fans for it you can put on later. So that's pretty much it. I don't know if I showed sideband here, but again, it looks the same as what it did before. And power wise, it does maybe just slightly more, but the radio is cooled off now. Let's go back up to 10 meter and just see. Then we'll cover the backstory really quick, and then I'll get yours all set for you. So here's 10 meter on this one. Yeah, so it's probably pretty close to the same. And then we'll go to 12 meter. Pretty darn close here. I think actually with the factory mic you can do it like that once you make it blink. Here's 12 meter CQ, 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 hello CQ. So it's pretty powerful little radio for sure. So yeah, let's do the backstory. The backstory on this one was he bought it from a big seller. I don't mention names or anything. It's not really professional to do that, but he bought it from the big seller. Didn't have anything done to it or anything. He found me after the fact on YouTube and looked me up and contacted me, and we talked about him sending it in, so he did. And I got his friend's radio here too. I'll be doing that one next. So the same backstory for that one. They bought it from the same place. I was a little nervous when I got it because I wasn't sure, and sure enough, what I thought was true. So there was a slight firmware thing with these when they first came out, where when you went into the service portion, you would adjust certain levels in there and it would just go blank. Like you would lose the value and you would lose the functionality. On this one, it was the FM deviation would just go 0, and then you had no FM output. And that was something that President would fix. It's very easy for them to fix. You just send it down. They do a firmware reflash to the radio, and the problem's solved. So, you know, we definitely have FM deviation now, as I showed in the video. So it's just one of those things. And assuming that this big power seller, online seller, brick and mortar seller, they must have bought a bunch of these in the beginning and probably weren't aware, or just didn't, I don't know. I don't like to draw on negativity because negativity doesn't help anyone. But here's your FM deviation, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check 1, 2. Hello. So it's definitely producing some good sound on FM. Regardless of that, the radios were never flashed or anything. They probably didn't realize, or maybe just didn't know. I'm not sure. So it was a common thing. Once I saw it, I knew right away what I had to do. His friend's radio was the same way. So President was nice enough to let me send them down. They reflashed them, no charge for shipping either way. In some circumstances, that's President's discretion on the shipping. Either way, I would have sent it down anyways to get them fixed for him, and I did. It did take a little while, but we're talking, we had Christmas and New Year's in between, and they understood, the customers understood, and they were obviously very patient, which is very much appreciated. So that's the backstory anyways. The only other thing I wanted to cover for you, and I think Hector, I think his radio is coming up next. Depending on when you bought these from them, and I don't want to really be involved in any of that. I'll always say that stuff, the dealings between a customer and the original purchaser of the radio, or sorry, the seller of the radio, I want to stay out of that stuff because it just doesn't pertain to me. Even though I have a little more knowledge in the business side, what's going on and stuff with a lot of these radios. I think that you probably, I don't know when you purchased them, but I know President's been running that rebate where you buy one of these new from a dealer, which obviously they're a dealer. There's no question about that. And there should have, it depends, if you would have got it before the deal started from President. I don't know. Maybe you already got your free mics. We didn't talk about that, but they usually, when I was selling these, and again, I'm still selling them, they're just on pre-order, because it's not really advantageous for a small business like myself to carry a bunch of stock on stuff and just sit on it. Certain new radios I will for the time being, just because they're a little popular, and it helps me get orders out quicker. But at a certain point, I like to just have pre-orders going when I have a supply source that can send them to me in a day or two or something. There's really no reason for me to have all this money tied up sitting here on a shelf on radios. When somebody wants one, they can pre-order it. I order it, they send it, I service it, I ship it out. It just works better for me as a small business. But the deal was extended. So if you, like I said in the middle part of the video, if you buy one of these new, you tell me which mic you want, whether it's the Bluetooth mic or the Digi mic. I let President know, I send them a copy of the invoice, and they mail the microphone out. And again, that's nothing between me and the original seller here that you guys bought your radios from. I just don't know if you qualified for it. I would have obviously let you know immediately if you would have bought them from me, that at the given time, if the deal was there, you would have gotten the free mic. Even if you don't want the free mic, you could have sold it, gave it to a friend, whatever the case is. A free mic is a free mic. So Gabe, I got you all set here, so obviously I'll put the cover on it, and we'll get it heading back to you very soon. 73.